Hi, how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out Killed by Death by Motörhead, and I kind of hope that Lemmy would see the irony of doing this tune now that he's no longer with us. But before I do a playthrough of this song, I just wanted to talk a little bit about working out songs yourself by ear. And Motörhead are an incredible band for learning by yourself. You know, when I was starting out as a teenager, learning about rock and roll, Motörhead were a great band for me to be working out by myself because there's nothing too complicated going on. It's mostly power chords. There's some great riffs. The solos, of course, are a lot trickier, but learning to play particularly the chord parts is something that I'd really recommend that you have a go at doing by yourself because they're not difficult. Well, it might feel difficult when you first try and do it, but it won't take you long. You know, a bit of practice and learning to recognize those chord shapes, and you will be able to work out probably the majority of Motörhead songs, you know, and I think that's a pretty cool thing to check out. So I'd just encourage you, maybe before you do this playthrough, before I do the playthrough, that you have a go at working out the song completely by yourself. If you really struggle with it and you can't, then maybe come back and watch this playthrough, and then at least you'll kind of see where the chords are, see where my hand's moving, and get a few kind of tips, and then have another go at working it out by yourself. And then if you're still stuck, come back and we'll go through the whole song. I will talk a little bit about what's going on with the harmony, but I won't be doing all the solos in this lesson today. Again, they're fantastic for transcribing the solos in most Motörhead songs. There's enough trickery stuff and fast lines to make it challenging, but they're really quite melodic and memorable as well, which is really helpful when you're learning to transcribe solos as well. So let me take you through a little playthrough now, and then we'll come back and talk about the little bits after that. So here we go. So I'll take you now one at a time through each section, and we'll have a look at the chords and some of the rhythm elements that you need to kind of explore as well. There's a lot of accenting going on here, which is a really big part of that kind of Motörhead rock thing, is the palm mute with the accent passages, sometimes without the palm mute, but the accenting that you're doing I think is pretty important and definitely something you want to listen out for and to explore using yourself. You know, find the patterns that work really well with the drums. Sometimes it's not so obvious, the rhythm pattern. You know, I'm not even certain I'm hearing the exact rhythm patterns being played, but it feels like they should be there with the drums, and I suspect that they are there. But when the accents sit really tightly with the bass and the drums, sometimes it's a little difficult to hear them. So let's start off with the intro. We've got an A power chord, open A power chord. I think we just play it once. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Do, 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 F. Little drum fills in between. D. That's a 5th string, 5th fret root. Then to an E power chord. which is the 7th fret, 5th string root. Now, on the E chord is where we start our first accent kind of pattern. So a little bit of palm mute there with the outside part of the hand. If you're not familiar with things like palm mute, you can go and check out the lessons on the website for how to do it. But just, you know, not too heavy a palm mute, kind of middle ground, not like so it's really dead and not off. Okay, so just a, you know, a centimetre in or whatever. And this first accent pattern is kind of groups of 3 with 2s at the end. We have this. That's the pattern. So I'm kind of lifting the mute up a little bit when I'm doing the accent. And the accents come on beat 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's kind of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. It's kind of how I think of those sort of patterns, you know, but understanding the count is obviously easier. So remember, it's a 2-bar pattern. We got the accents on beat 1, the and after 2, beat 4, the and after 1, and then 3 and 4. Okay, so after the intro we're into a solo, which is a wicked thing to start off with. We don't have that too often in hits these days, and this was a hit for Motörhead back in its time. So same chord sequence again, but even 8th note picking. So a little bit of palm mute again. So just A, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to F, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 to D, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 E. Probably got those accents in there again. Okay, then we're into the verse. Now the verse, A power chord again, and we've just got a little kind of move. It's not a power chord on the and after 3, 4, and. So the end of every second bar. So to do that, all we're doing is moving our first finger up to the 5th fret and playing strings 4 and 3. Wouldn't matter if the second string rung out as well a little bit. But we just this is the pattern. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Okay, it does that 4 times. Then F for 2 bars, D for 2 bars, and 4 bars of E. The only time I'm gonna be easy is when I'm chorus. Killed by death, A to F. Killed by death, D. Killed by death, E with the accents. And then it's into another verse. We got another chorus, then a second chorus. At the end of the second chorus, it repeats those 2 bars of the E with the accent passages again. Okay, so be aware of that when you're looking at the arrangement of the song. And then we go into the solo, the second solo. Now, second solo, the chords are F sharp minor to C sharp minor. Now, I think it's still being played power chords, so just F sharp power chord and C sharp power chord. But be aware that the harmony is F sharp minor and C sharp minor. And sometimes I feel, particularly on the C sharp minor, I can hear the second finger going down there to really outline that harmony. But if you were doing a solo, you're going to be using F sharp minor pentatonic over the F sharp chord and C sharp minor pentatonic over the C sharp chord. Well, that's would be a good place to start anyway. So it's doing F sharp for 2 bars, then C sharp minor for 2 bars. That's repeated, so back to the F sharp minor or F sharp power chord, then to C sharp power chord or C sharp minor, then D for 2 bars, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, E for 2 bars, and then F sharp for 4 bars, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Love this section. again, really, really nice, interesting accent passage going on here. So the power chords are B, power chord, but it's definitely kind of a B minor tonality going on here. Then to a G, then to an E, and then to an F sharp. Sometimes I'm hearing it up there, sometimes I'm hearing it down there. More often the low one, actually, to tell the truth. But when we add the little riff in, it would be the same pattern. But better off learning the accent pattern first. So back on the B, we have this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Okay, so the accents there are on beat 2 and the and after 3 in the first bar, and the 1 and the and after 2 and 4 and in the second bar. So again, nice and slowly. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3, 4 and. Okay, really important that you get those kind of accent passages, particularly in that little section. Now, there is something else going on in there as well, which I'm pretty sure is playing a power chord and then lifting off third finger, possibly lifting off little finger at the same time. I can't quite decide. Sometimes I hear the little finger coming off to this. So the B, off, or. Okay, it seems to change a little bit through the tune, the pattern. It doesn't tend to happen on the G, but you definitely hear it on the E again. So B, G, not hearing it on that one, on the E, and on the F sharp. The thing I'm noticing there as well is on the last and I'm playing the open string. So regardless of what the chords are, when I'm changing from here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Same here, moving up to the E. Okay, I know it should be kind of wrong, but it's happening. And again, on these kind of riffs, getting to the chord on beat 1 is the most important thing. So if on the and after 4 of the previous bar you hit some open strings in the transition, as long as you're keeping the rhythm going, it doesn't really kind of affect the tune. You know, it still keeps the vibe going because you need to keep the rhythm to keep it motoring along. And we don't really hear that last little and. It kind of comes across as a little accent or a little change. It doesn't tend to sound wrong even in odd keys, you know. So that's pretty much the tune, you know. So with that information I've just given you there, that should be enough to, again, listening to the original recording is really important. Making a little chart of the arrangement can also help, I think, to, you know, it's what I do when I'm, before I do the lesson, I sit down with a pen and I listen to the track and I write down what the chords are and then I write the arrangement. So in this case, it's intro, solo 1, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, chorus, the additional little 2 bars of the E riff, then solo 2, and I write out the chords for solo 2, and then bridge, which is this end section where the solos happen over that end section as well. And there's some terrific licks in this. As I was listening to it, I'm like, I really should do the solo for this song because there's a lot of interesting things the way he's moving between the chords. That last section, the solos over the B minor or B power chord, which is the B minor harmony, G, E, F sharp. It's kind of B minor tonality over that whole thing, but you can start to play off of the chords as well. It's almost kind of a jazz approach when you play off of the chords, but it's something that again happens in a lot of this style of rock. So have a lot of fun with this tune. I'd love to know how you get on along if you are trying to transcribe it on your own as well. So I really recommend you having a go at doing that before you go through that. But if you're this far into the video, you've probably missed that boat. But, you know, for other Motörhead tunes, you know, pick some songs, you know, and have a go. The riffs are usually fairly simple. That doesn't mean they're easy, but you know, there's nothing usually too complicated. There's all exceptions. There's some of the tunes that are obviously pretty difficult, but it's listen to a song first and have a go and see if it sounds fairly simple. It probably is, and then just have a go at working it out on your own. It's really, really beneficial for your musicianship to be able to do that. I can't emphasize it strongly enough. When I was growing up, we didn't have the internet tabs. Even songbooks were hard to come by, and they were invariably wrong. So learning to use your ears, I think, is a really important thing. And I make mistakes when I'm doing lessons. I try really hard not to, but if you got your ear out and you're listening to the original recording as well, you'll spot it and go, oh, dude, that accent passage in the bridge wasn't right the way you did that. He lifts his fingers off earlier or in a different rhythm, for example. Wink, wink. So use your ears to try and find some stuff and learn things yourself. It'll really pay dividends in the future. Rant over. Sorry for taking so much of your time with this sort of stuff, but I really think it's important. So hope you enjoyed this lesson. Please subscribe if you dig what I do. And remember, there's more than 1,000 lessons for free over on the website. So do go and check it out, and I'll see you for plenty more very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.